Talking Giants YouTube, what is up? If you are a subscriber, this is the first time you're seeing my face. My name is Justin Pennick, and today we are going to be talking about Leonard Williams, going in depth, talking about the trade. Yes, it was bad, but why do the Giants need to re-sign him? And we go through that for multiple reasons. He's a good player, not going to give too much away. Video is going to be split up into 3 parts. Number 1, I'm going to cover right now. If you are a fan who's worried about the salary cap, if you're a fan who's worried about his salary, I would suggest you not to worry. I was listening to an interview on the Giants Huddle podcast recently with Charles Robinson, who's a senior writer for Yahoo Sports, and he is projecting something very interesting with the cap heading into the next few years if a new CBA is approved and if a 17th game is added.
And here, I'll give you a nugget here. I'm going to end up reporting this later today, but I might as well roll it out now. There is a salary cap model that the NFLPA has shown to some of the players, and it's, and then obviously the management knows that based on if this passes and they get the 48.5% revenue split, and there is 6% growth in the NFL each year, overall revenue growth of 6%, they are projecting a possible salary cap move of, it would start at $203 million this year. I believe next year it would jump to $252 million.
Whoa!
And then by year 3, it could potentially jump into the 290s.
All right, so you heard within the next 3 years, there's a chance that the cap could literally increase $90 million. So even if you overpay for a guy this year, 2-3 years from now, it's going to look very, very small. And the risk for overpaying in this year's free agency is very, very small. So let's take it away to the rest of the video. You're going to hear Anthony and myself talking about Leonard Williams, throwing out some stats, throwing out some film. Hope you enjoy it. Anthony, you and I have been fighting, I think, the good fight of recognizing that this Leonard Williams trade was not very good, but also recognizing that Leonard Williams is...
It was bad. It was bad. We can say it was bad. We can say it was a very bad trade. There's no question about that. We can keep going.
But also, we recognize that Leonard Williams, just because it was a bad trade and it was bad in how we acquired him and how he got on the team, we can't control that. But what we can control is our ability to analyze him and our ability to look at him fairly and look at his game fairly and say, you want to know what? Leonard Williams, while he was in blue, was pretty damn good and was kind of a light on this Giants defense when not a lot of people were providing light.
The eye test for me was when I watched the Bears game and his stat line was almost completely empty, right? And that was the game that I was like, I have to break down this, because not only did he have, I think he had 1 or 2 plays that were called back due to penalty. He made a bunch of disruptive plays up the middle. Marcus Golden actually was just on Twitter today. They showed how he was able to beat someone across the edge. One of the main things I pointed out from that play originally when the game happened was that the guy that was in the quarterback's face that the quarterback was paying attention to was Leonard Williams, who had just beaten a double team to get there. And the stats kind of bear that out in general. So he is doubled at an impressive rate. It is a well above average rate. I think it's 67% of the time. He gets pressure pretty much on average, a little bit below, but that puts him in the bottom right quadrant of defensive tackles in general. Now, you can call him a defensive end, but I think what we're getting out of him is a two-way defensive tackle who can rush the passer. He can sit on the outside, but yeah, it was really fascinating to me. And you know that I posted some stats and we cross-shared them over on Instagram and other places. Our yards per rush improved by almost a yard after we acquired him from before we acquired him. And that is insane, because that's like 500 yards. That's 5 football fields worth of yards after one guy came. And the domino effect for him was Dalvin started to play a lot better, even when Dexter started to regress a little bit. Now, we didn't get to talk about him much, but Dalvin started to play even better. BJ Hill started to play better, and you even saw Lorenzo Carter start to pick it up at the end of the year. I did see a defense that got better when he was on the team. And his other stats, you can point them out around. What did he actually do?
Well, on a 16-game pace with the Giants in 2019, 12 quarterback hurries, 20 quarterback knockdowns, 34 QB pressures, 22 quarterback hits, which is huge. Yannick Ngakoue had 15 quarterback hits in 2019 and a total of 52 tackles. So the sack numbers are low. I get it. I get it. Everybody likes sacks. I know a lot of old people like sacks. That's all that they like to look at. But in the NFL, Anthony, where quarterbacks are averaging like 2.9 seconds, 2.8 seconds, sometimes even less of
You got to go lower.
their
Yeah,
average.
it's 2.6,
Yeah, really.
2.7.
Yeah, that was actually that was
Yeah.
pretty that was conservative on my end.
You had a Daniel Jones. You had Daniel Jones in your mind.
Yeah, Eli Manning in 2018, 2019, it was like 2.66, somewhere around there, where his average time to
Exactly.
throw. So you can't fully expect even like top premier edge rushers. I mean, let's just say this: the top premier edge rushers, they're going to get their sacks, they're going to get their money, they're going to get their production. But solely looking at these guys by, oh, can you produce sacks? Can you not produce sacks? It's irresponsible. Video from the John Boy Media headquarters in the Bronx, but today and right now we need to talk about Leonard Williams. There's a ton of people who are already freaking out and already wanting to wave goodbye to him because of the news that broke that him and his camp are asking for an annual value of $15 million per year entering into free agency. And here's my response. This is very normal, and you want to know what? Good for him. Good for him for asking for that, because there's little to no chance that he will actually even get that much. SpotRack has his annual average value at around $8 million. Now, in the end, he probably gets a little bit over that, since that's just how free agency works. You overpay. This is normal. But why would Williams lowball himself? It doesn't make much sense, and the reaction to it by fans makes even less sense, in my opinion. So I was a guy who disagreed with the trade initially, but I don't want to get into that because it happened and you can't change it. But to really make the trade worth it, you do have to re-sign him. You cannot just let him walk, or else you absolutely lose this trade. And yes, they get a compensatory pick back, but it would have been a huge difference in value if Dave Gettleman just kept the early third-round pick. You need to keep Williams and make the trade worth it.